Ahoy pilots, Britt here. This is the first flight of many that my instructor and I have planned to knock the rust off. I wanted it to be fun and not stressful and all about maneuvers. So we decided to fly a bay tour, departing San Carlos Airport, flying over to Oakland, and then nice scenic tour around Alcatraz and the Golden Gate Bridge. Then down the coastline and a landing at San Carlos. It was beautiful and so great, especially after all the smoke and haze we've had here in San Francisco. It was so great to be flying over my home city after 3 years away from the controls. This flight gave me a lot of practice with radio calls and changing frequencies. I can say for certain that after 3 years away from the controls of an airplane, my brain was fully saturated and I often felt slow. Debriefing this flight at home, it was helpful to review many of the different visual landmarks and reporting points that we flew over so that they're more familiar next flight. To start this debrief, I reviewed the Oracle departure, which is a noise abatement procedure flying to the Diamond Waterway and then turning right to follow the slough. I then flew to the midspan of the San Mateo Bridge, a charted VFR waypoint. If I switch to the VFR chart for an extra check of the reference, I can see how well I followed ATC directions. I then flew over Oakland Airport and turned northwest towards Alcatraz and the Golden Gate Bridge. If I take a closer look at the airborne segment of this flight, I can see how well I did holding altitude. As we took in the beautiful scenery, I was to hold 1,800 feet. I was mostly consistent, but did have to remind myself to relax a bit and stop that death grip on the controls. We flew south down the coastline and crossed back over to enter a midfield downwind for runway 30 at San Carlos. This was my first landing in nearly 3 years, and I think I did well enough. I can declutter my flight by looking just at the final to runway 30 and click the black circle to get segment information to see my score and review the graphs. I scored well in airspeed control. I didn't score so well, to say the least, on my descent angle, and I deviated from centerline. Reviewing the graphs, I can see my chop and drop. And if I review the centerline deviation in conjunction with the 3D cockpit view, I can see how I was fighting to keep center and perhaps overcorrecting for the little crosswind I had. This was a fun flight to fly, and now so helpful to relive via debrief. It's certainly just the start. Next up will be some more maneuvers and hopefully lots more landing practice.